I saw Anthony Slater. ESPN wrote, um, it was like I think it was like questions for all 32 teams or something like that in the league, and Slater, who obviously is continuing his role of covering both the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors, asked the question: can the Kings offense, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but this is the gist of it, can the Kings offense hide their serious flaws on defense? Mm-hmm. Which is it's a tradition unlike any other. The Kings defense, long before they step on the floor, is going to be criticized, and their offense is going to ask to excel. Mm-hmm. And Ant-Man said, and credit to Anthony, and I really appreciated this about what he wrote. He actually acknowledged the Kings were talented.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, there's a lot of talent on this team, which is so unusual for someone to actually acknowledge, because you would think this team was compiled of a bunch of scrubs, the way that people talk about them. But he said it would take a top 10 offense to they would need a top 10 offense to overachieve to make up for their defensive flaws, because they're going to be if they're a bottom 10 team defensively, they're going to have to be incredible on offense. Mm-hmm. And I want to point something out really quick. Last year, what were they ranked as an offense?
Different metrics, but I think in points per game, they were like 8th.
You know what they were as an offensive rating?
What was that?
7. So you got to excel. You got to be top 10. Got it. If you're a bottom 10 defensive team, do you know what they were last year?
29.
They were 22nd.
Better than I thought.
I'm begging somebody to come up with something different for this basketball team. Like, and I understand. And we learned it must have been Beam Team one year that the running joke was, maybe it was power rankings, because I think that's the only time we've ever paid attention to power rankings. Mm-hmm. Is every year the paragraph would end with, yeah, but can their defensive woes? It would be like the last sentence every week would be something about the Sacramento Kings defensive struggles, woes, whatever.
Yeah.
And I get it. You have to be better defensively. They have to be better defensively. This is already a good offensive team. I think there's ways to make. Obviously, Scott Perry feels like there are ways that this team could be better. Domantas Sabonis, Malik Monk, all of Keegan Murray, all of those guys feels like DeMar DeRozan feel like there's ways that this team could be better, because at the end of last season, everyone said the same exact thing. Again, depending on the metric you use, top 8, top 7. Great. They all acknowledged they needed a point guard. And I don't know who the point guard was that everybody wanted, but you could put it on my tombstone. They got a pretty good one.
Yes.
I think Dennis Schroeder is really good, and I think he's going to be great in this role. And I think now you have the opportunity, similar to De'Aaron, not as a scorer, but as a facilitator, and perhaps a one-of-its-kind in Sacramento organizer.
Shout out to the organizers.
Now you have 2 facilitators on the floor now in Dennis and Domas, which to me, and maybe I'm just dead wrong, I feel like that opens things up a lot for Zach LaVine, maybe Keegan Murray, not so much DeMar DeRozan, because I feel like DeMar does a lot of stuff on his own, and I'm not criticizing him for iso ball or anything like that, but I don't know. I don't know what having, we go back to the Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan thing in Chicago, where everyone says that's where the team was at their best. DeMar was great that year. I know everyone hates this, and context is important. DeMar was good. DeMar was really good last year too. Maybe this facilitator, maybe having these 2 facilitators back on the floor with these 2 scorers, these 2 20-plus per game scorers, and Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, maybe that helps what was already a pretty good Sacramento Kings offense.
I've been saying for a while, that is not the issue. Offense is not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I know people may want to see a different type of offense, see it played a different way or whatever. Sure, I get it. But you talked about two categories right there: offensive rating and points per game. Top 10 in the league. Even the efficiency and field goal percentage are related, but I know they're two different things. They were top 10 in field goal percentage this past year, which leads me to believe that efficiency is probably pretty good as well, if rating and field goal percentage are high. Offense wasn't this team's problem. That's what people always want to talk about when they talk about this team. They talk about the fit is bad and they got talent, but can they play together? And they need to change the offense. They need to change the offense for real. Do they really? The offense is fine. It may not be what you want to see, but now we get into as a player, as an observer, do you want to be right or do you want results? Right? Because I'm just gonna. This is not what I've heard from anybody or them or nothing like that. I'm gonna just use an example. Maybe Domantas Sabonis thinks the offense should go through him, and if it's not going through him, it's like, man, it's the wrong way to go about things. And it's going through DeMar DeRozan, and they're scoring 117 points per game. If you're Domantas, should you be pouting about that because it's not going through you, or just say, hey, this is actually working as well? Well, we could flip that around. If they give the ball to Domantas Sabonis all the time and DeMar DeRozan's not getting the same looks or same touches that he did last year, but they're averaging 117 points per game, should DeMar be mad? No. Like, the bottom line is we want to be an efficient offense. We want to be an offense that is able to compete against anybody, put pressure on the opposing team's defense, and let them know you're dealing with a top 10 scoring team in the league. I don't really care how you get there. I don't personally. You can get there by 53s. You can get there by 22 threes and get into the free throw line all the night long. I don't care how you get there. I just want it to be done. And that's where I think Kings fans got to have a talk with themselves. Like, do you really want things to just get done, or do you want it to get done the way you think it should be done or the way you want to see it? Those are two different conversations. But, yeah.
You think the offense was good enough last year?
I do.
And the sole reason they finished 40 and 42 was defense.
Defense, and then once De'Aaron Fox left, they did lack a point guard.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because part of what we part of those numbers, the numbers we just gave you, the points per game and the offensive efficiency, that's season long. So that includes, from October to February. When De'Aaron Fox was here, things looked and felt different. Not so much. Pretty much immediately. Like, vibes hit when Mike Brown was fired. That was December. So the big run that really, which is, the 10 of 11 run, that is what ultimately got Sacramento wound up them getting to the 40 and 42 record, was with De'Aaron Fox. That was before he was traded. So, and I'm sure Will Z could do this. The numbers post De'Aaron, I'm sure, are a little bit different.
When from De'Aaron leaving, and this is just points per game. I don't have the rating or nothing like that. But they went from 10th in the league over the season to just with De'Aaron gone 16th. So they were middle of the pack offensively.
Oh, wow.
114.7 a night.
So that's a hefty drop. And, without having the offensive ratings numbers in front, you have to assume, again, if it was 8, they were 8 in points per game, 7th in offensive rating. there's going to be a fall off because those numbers are obviously close to each other. There's going to be a fall off in that number as well, which is going to put him back towards the middle of the pack, which is what you can't afford to be.
Mhm.
You can't afford to be the middle of the pack defense, which again, it brings this conversation back to light. Okay, you have the facilitator, you have the organizer, you have a guy who can actually score points for you. I know that that's not commonly talked about. Dennis Schroeder's not a 29 point per game scorer. He's not going to average, 31, 32 for a month or two like De'Aaron Fox did, but he can get you 15 to 20 some odd points per game. And when you got Zach LaVine, you got DeMar DeRozan, and you got Domas scoring 17 to 20 off of 12 shots, that's just fine because that doesn't even factor in Keegan Murray yet or what Keon and Malik can do. But with those numbers that you just gave us, it's clear that the offense post De'Aaron Fox does have to get better.
Now, once again, rating, I don't have rating in front of me. I just got like the traditional numbers. In that time period, though, the Kings were 7th in the league in field goal percentage. 48.4%. That's up there with Denver.
Okay, nerd. What do you want me to do with all these numbers?
I don't know what to do with their points per game falling off and their field goal percentage staying high. So good. Yeah, it's up there with Indiana. Indiana's behind them at 8.
And they were running at that time of the season.
The Clippers are second with 49.7.
Well, they paid for that.
The Thunder are up there. Milwaukee,
Steve Ballmer.
The Kings and the Hawks are clearly the two worst teams in this top 8. So what that says to me.
So interesting. Who the Hawks were 8?
The Hawks were 3rd.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's Nuggets 1, Clippers 2, Hawks 3, Thunder 4, Bucks 5, Pistons 6, Kings 7.
All right, bro. I got
field
nothing.
Goal percentage.
I don't know. Do whatever you want with that. I got
now,
nothing.
One thing I can say about that, and here, let me click on this button and see what it says. Is
famous last words.
I think I feel like the 3-point percentage might have it didn't go down at all. They were 7th in 3-point percentage when De'Aaron was gone during that time. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe they got more 2s and stuff like that, but they lost one of the 3-point shooters at that time, and that hurt. I think one of the things that probably happened is they were not good with turning the ball over. When not having that point guard there really hurt them. I think they end up being middle of the pack, but all the numbers and everything else like that. I just think that the symmetry that they were lacking without a point guard is something that Dennis Schroeder being there now can kind of help with. And you combine that with guys who can put the ball in the basket. LaVine, DeRozan, Sabonis, Keegan, Monk coming off the bench. Keon is a great catch and shoot type guy. Dennis himself. I think they have enough on offense.
So we're in agreement. The offense does need to be better.
I don't think it needs to be better. I think it needs to be the same. It's going to look a little different. I do think
the same as in October to February.
Yeah, it's well, yeah, because the points per game went down to middle,
and that's where it got clunky. That's like, I mean, it's post De'Aaron that DeMar's attempting to win basketball games, right? It's post De'Aaron, obviously. Zach LaVine, had it took a few, but he had a breakout game in that regard. Like there weren't a lot of, at least not off the top of my head, not a lot of, we joked, I don't know, recently about that first quarter of that first preseason game with DeMar DeRozan and how we thought, all right, we did it. This is everything we were looking for. Perfect. I think I can't remember if I feel like the score was 39-36 or something like that. And I can remember if the Kings were up or if the Kings were down. But I remember we thought, all right, dope. Like that's what everybody wanted to see. Shut it down, guys. We did it. And I can't remember the post De'Aaron Kings having a game like where it was, oh, they figured it out. there were games where it was like, Zach, that's what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
There was I think it was versus Dallas, DeMar's superhuman game.
They were super hit or miss after the year.
Yeah. And then, so I guess that is the symmetry you're talking about. That's where Dennis comes into place in all of this, is he can bring that normalcy is not the right word, but he can bring that stabilizer.
The organization.
Look at that man right there.
That's
a professional. You know what Dennis thinks about that? That right there. Let's hear from the charismatic point guard of the Sacramento Kings, our man Dennis Schröder, after his first practice as a King.
Offensive and defensive principles.
Oh, buddy, you're going to have to speak up.
Played a little 5-on-5. Yeah, it was great first day.
What stood out to you about the way that Dove runs things?
He's direct. Want that dog mentality that we pressure full court. Wants it, to be together as a team, as a unit. And we got to work on those things.
It seems like pace is a big focus. You guys running at the end there. Just how does that play into your guys' strengths?
I think that's great. I mean, we got so many talented guys who can, play in fast break. We got a lot of fast break points. Zach Levine, Domas who can run as a big man. Keegan, Debo. I think that's great basketball. Everybody's touching it. You're gonna get easy layups and easy threes from it. So we just gotta, keep going at it and get better at it.
What's your anticipation for conditioning of this team? I mean, obviously you've been coming out from over Europe. You're kind of good to go, I would imagine. But what do you see?
Come on, Dennis. Let's say 94 feet.
I mean, it was first day. I took off like 6-7 days as myself, so I got to get back to it as well. I still got my rhythm, but I think when we, first day, we doing those type of drills, I think everybody's going to be good in a few days. And if we practice those things and we creating good habits, it's going to become normal for us.
People talk about like building.
I'm gonna give Dennis one more chance.
Oh man,
I'm gonna give him one more chance.
Come on, man.
I love.
Gotta get there.
I love Dennis. He's just not the most exciting guy to listen to, and I really want him to say 94 feet.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Chemistry with new surroundings. From your experience, you've been in a lot of those. Just where do you see when that things start coming together? Like, what do you have to see signs of that happening?
And Sean always sounds like he's calling into a slow jam show to dedicate a song to his girl. Like, Sean is just chill. That's I think that's why everyone talks to Sean, because he's not like he's not animated.
No,
like he just asked the question. I was like, man,
words.
Sean's a very comfortable person to talk to. He was very.
That's why I talk to him all the time when
relaxing.
I see him. Yeah.
You know what Sean did when he saw me walk into the event you and I went to the other day?
Mm.
He laughed.
Why?
Well, he goes, "Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I was just surprised you were here." And it was my first reaction. All right, man.
I think when you can keep everybody accountable. If I can go to somebody and say, "Hey, you bullshitting,"
God damn it, Matt George, where were you?
I think he did tell us that Dennis cursed.
Did he?
I think he did.
Oh,
I remember he said
man.
2 people cursed.
Did he? No, hold on.
I think I texted you guys that Ham told me he cursed.
Ham said it. That's who said it.
Oh, did Ham
Yeah.
say it?
I texted you that Ham told me that Dennis said this.
Buddy, no, you didn't.
Oh, I meant to then. That's my fault.
But I remember you saying it. He
Okay.
did. He said it. He said.
Oh, did he?
Ham said that Zach and Dennis cursed.
I
forgot about it.
Matt George says dead ass. I didn't remember that.
Well, we caught it.
Oh, thank God you was in the studio.
Oh man.
All right, you know what, Dennis? Dennis was just starting to liven up.
He was
too.
about to cook on that answer.
But I guess we'll never find out.
He was like, "Look, man, we got accountability. Dennis,
Yeah.
I like Dennis. I'm not saying he's an all-star, not like that. I'm just
Nah.
saying I like Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis seemed like the type where he gonna say, "Hey, pick it up.
Oh,
Pick it up.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
This ain't good enough."
Yeah.
He's a leader. Dennis is a leader.
I'm with you. Sure would have been nice to hear what else he had to say. Oh well. Sorry, point guard Dennis. But he'll be the one to, going back to Anthony Slater talking about this team needing to have a top 10 offense. Doug, we have not heard a single word about offense. These, I mean, of course, we were trying to get to, Dennis saying 94 feet. Like the conversation is what this team can do on the defensive end, and maybe that's focusing on a weak point, or maybe it's the personality of your head coach. Yeah. Like Doug made that clear yesterday in Doug Christie form. He laughed about it, but told James, "But what are you asking me about offense for?" Talking about 53s, like. We want to score because of what we're doing on the defensive end. We want to score. We want fast break layups. That's what we want. If we're not on fast break layups, we want to touch the paint. He did use the term spray. We want to spray out to guys. All right. So that term is sticking around, but that's more of a basketball term than a Mike Brown term. But he says, I want to touch the paint. So we go back to this conversation about having facilitators on the floor. Dennis and Domas. Domas has a frustrating ability to find everybody on the floor. Mm-hmm. I say frustrating because there's so many times where it's like, you're like a top 3 strong guy in the league. Like you can do this yourself, but he'll see Zach, Keegan, somebody, and he'll find them in the right spot and move the ball out. But we've asked, how will this offense move with Dennis here now, Zach LaVine being a scorer, DeMar being a creator, and then Domas being able to do a little bit of all of that? Mm-hmm. Doug said yesterday, we want to score on fast breaks. We want to get layups. When we don't, we want to touch the paint, work from there, and then spray out to our guys, around the arc. Right. And to me, that's like, okay, you've got scorers on the floor. Really, really good ones. We're going to start with Domas and move from there.
Yeah, and then you know what? You were thinking Domas, and you said DeMar on accident. I think DeMar, while that's not primarily who he is, I think he's an underrated creator for others.
Okay.
I think he's a guy that realizes when the defense is locked in on him, and he can spray out the shooters as well. And it looks a little different because it's not necessarily like your true point guard getting into the paint and, attacking and then kicking out real quick. DeMar can just see like, oh, maybe the defense is he's holding the ball at the elbow. Defense kind of focusing on me. Oh, boom, let me hit Keegan right there. Wide open 3. I think that's an underrated aspect of his game. So sometimes when you're able to unlock that part of DeMar, you may have 3 guys out there that can create for others, 2.5 guys that can create for others that are good with the basketball and finding open guys. So,
and that's just in the starting lineup.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you have a guy off the bench who's really, really good at doing that too. And Malik is kind of the guy who can do all of these things. Yeah. He can create, he can score, and he can, I said create, I was actually meaning create for others. He can score. But as we've learned, very, very importantly, he can create for himself too.
Right. 100%. So this is what these guys talk about when you ask them questions and you talk about talent and the talent that they have out there. They got talent all up and down that roster. They got guys that can play, that can put the ball in the basket all up and down the roster. When teams are going up against them, more times than not, they're going to have 4 to maybe 5 guys on the court at a time who can go to work one-on-one, that can hit an open jump shot, that can get to the line, that can create for themselves. And that's going to put stress on the other team's defense against a lot of the teams that you play. And that's even when you talk about some of the guys coming off the bench. Like Malik Monk is a problem. If you're out there and you've got Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine, somebody's going to have a little bit of a mismatch. And somebody's going to have an opportunity to score, if need be, in their matchup. Dennis Schröder is kind of the same way. So Yeah, they got a lot of talent on the offense. On the defensive end is where their focus needs to be, because if they can figure out something on there, they may be cooking with a little something. They could be a little bit better than people give them credit for. I also like Zach LaVine kind of mentioned it too. Something that I always thought about with being team one. But Zach was like, yeah, there's a lot of people on here got something to play for, whether it's pride, whether it's contract, whether it's a rookie, got something to prove. And I think that is a good recipe for a potentially successful team when people got some at stake.
I also think it's not the worst thing in the world to have guys, or as we learned yesterday, at least a guy being a little pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to DeMar DeRozan and what DeMar said yesterday. DeMar, not only I know because of the nature of the way he was talking, Jesse had to edit the audio of that clip.
Mm-hmm.
The video exists. You could see it out there. DeMar looked agitated discussing the way people talk about this basketball team. He looked agitated discussing last season.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that energy to live in you, but having that energy right now, that don't bother me a bit.
Not at all.
Yeah, that don't bother me a bit. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm with you on that one. I need that type of energy in this locker room and on this team.
It's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a point where you've got to put it aside. Like, I don't want DeMar shouldn't have to reference last season again, right? We all, I'm gonna call it a circus. He called it something else, but it doesn't. Yep, it was acknowledged, and I think it's great for a player to say, "No, we know what you know." And I got news for you guys. It was way worse. It was way worse than you think it was, and the fact that he seems to be he feels like everything is in a healthier place right now.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me, and I know this is what media day is for. I know this is what training camp is for. Fresh starts are for. It gives me hope for this season because, and I feel like we have been very consistent. This team wasn't a 40. This team was better than 40 and 42. And we could argue whether it was a 50-win team or not, but they grossly underachieved at 40 and 42.
I agree.
And finding the happy medium between maybe overrating what they might be and them underachieving is why I keep landing on I think they could easily win 40-something games this year.
I'm with you.
And I'm talking 44, 45, somewhere in that vicinity. And then we'll see what that winds up being in terms of that's almost certainly a play-in spot, but we'll see what that means in terms of playing at home, playing on the road, and what they're able to do from there because they've been in play-in games now 2 years in a row and haven't been able to go anywhere.